Hi Aries, welcome to Carol's Universe Tarot Readings from the Heart. So we're going to do your month ahead reading. It's June 2019. I do weeklies as well, but I also like to keep my hand in with the monthlies too. So for your reading, I'm doing a new spread today that I found online. I really like this spread a lot, it's so good. And for this spread I like to use 4 separate decks. So for the first layer of cards I use the no, not those ones, sorry. The Before Tarot. I just really love these cards by Corinne Kenner, artwork by Aeon and Simone Rossi. I mean, it's just stunning. And this is, what I love about this deck is that it really makes a tarot reader work. It makes anybody work. Like, in tarot, you don't just read the meanings of the cards, you have to use your intuition, and also, if you buy cards that are visual like I do, not the cards with like the symbols and stuff on them, but literally with people on them and people interacting and that, you have to visually look at the card and say, well, what's that trying to tell me? How do I feel about the card? What is it that first springs to mind when I see it? These cards really make you work, because these cards represent what happens a moment before the Rider-Waite figures take place. Really love those cards. So we use that for the first layer of the reading. Then we use the Mystic Mondays Tarot by Grace Duong. Oh, if you can, guys, get a deck of these. They're absolutely stunning. Really good again. The illustrations really make you think as well, which is what I really love about all the decks. Most of the decks that I buy, it's got the pictures, the illustrations have got to speak to me. So we use this for the second layer. The third layer, we're using my trusty Druid Craft Tarot deck, which I love. And finally, this is a new deck of mine called the Twin Tarot Oracle. It's only made up of majors. 42 cards I think is in here. And as you can see on the front cover, you've got a fool here who seems to be covering his ears, and a fool here who's kind of putting his face to the wind. So he's throwing caution to the wind on this particular fool, and he's a little bit reticent here. It's almost like the reversal. It's got 2 versions of the same major card on each of the majors. And it shows one dark side of the major card and one light side, as if it's a reversal and an upright. Absolutely amazing. So we use that for the advice and encouragement section at the end of the reading, okay? So with that being said, guys, let me start the reading, okay? So we're going to shuffle, and we're going to ask the cards, Aries. Who is Aries? Okay, that's given me that card there. That's who you are in the month of June 2019. And what will the theme of the month be for Aries? What will the theme of the month be? Right, we've got our first 2 cards out. I may use clarifiers. If I do, then I'll use the Hanson Roberts miniature deck. And can you show me, universe, for June 2019, what will be the key goal for Aries in June 2019? Okay. And can you show me what the obstacles are that Aries needs to overcome in June 2019? And can you show me what will be their major accomplishment? What will Aries' major accomplishment be in June 2019? Okay, there we go. Okay, universe, can you show me through the Druid Craft Tarot now, please? Can you show me what is it that Aries needs to avoid in 2 cards now through the Druid Craft Tarot? What is it that Aries needs to avoid in June 2019? Show me 2 cards from the top of the deck, please. 1, 2. Okay. And what does Aries need to embrace? What does Aries need to embrace? And who is supporting them? What type of support, or who is supporting them in June 2019? Okay. And finally, what is the advice and encouragement? 2 cards, please, through the Twin Tarot Oracle. Can you show me, please, universe? 2 cards. 2 cards to show me what is the advice and encouragement that you have for Aries, Sun, Moon and Rising signs. There's one. In June 2019. Show me in the other one, please. Okay, that's great. Okay, we've got all our cards down. Let's make a start on the reading. So, Aries, who are you? What is your, what is yourself? What is your current self in June 2019? You are Justice. Some of these before tarot are easy to kind of look at and think, oh yeah, that's going on. And some of them you have to think about a little bit, okay? So Justice is Justice is all about weighing up your pros and cons. It's a card about finally completing a cycle, whether this be a karmic tie, whether this be going to court and finalising a court case. Justice is all about getting what we deserve as well, but you are justice. So this kind of indicates to me that your current self, I think that you guys are showing as being justice, because it might be because you have the decision to make. It might be because you've got to weigh up the pros and cons of a situation, which you might do. If you look at the scales here, they're tipped slightly. So they're not balanced. The scales are not balanced, okay? And he's also letting a bird go as well, which is interesting. I don't really know what the symbol of the bird is, to be honest with you, and the bird is carrying a leaf, so I'll be honest, I don't know what that is, because I don't really do that type of kind of symbology and stuff like that. Maybe some of you guys know, but I feel that you're showing us justice, because I feel that you have a responsibility here in the month of June 2019. That's the word that's coming to me, Aries. You have a responsibility, and I think that you have a responsibility to put something into balance here, because you've got the scales, so the scales are what you're holding. Justice is all about putting things into balance. It's all about completion. It's all about harmony. Justice is, but it's also about getting our rewards. But because justice shows us you, Aries, I think that you have a responsibility here to put something into balance. But I think there's a couple of things that you need to do first before you can do that. Before you can pick up the sword. Because if you look at the sword as well, the sword is on the floor. Usually on justice, justice is holding the sword and the scales. There are two things that are balanced and aligned here. The scales of justice on one hand and the ace of swords on the other. Okay, but the ace of swords is down. Now, usually what I'm noticing with the ace of swords is usually the ace of swords in the tarot, when it's reversed or it's down, it means that, for me, when it's reversed and it's down, it means a lack of clarity within the tarot. It means that things are not being resolved. There's a lack of resolution in a situation. Ace of swords in the upright is a resolution to a situation. Whether this be mental or emotional or physical, there's a resolution. Because what you're doing with the Ace of Swords is you're cutting away from the past and you're moving forward. There's plans being put into action. There's new ideas that are developing. But with the Ace of Swords energy showing up here, it's on the floor. So nothing is being resolved as yet. You're just about to get to it, though. It's before it happens. But there are a few things that need to be taken care of before you can actually put something into balance here. So I actually feel that when I look at this card, and this is showing as you here with justice, I feel that you have a responsibility here in June 2019, Aries. But I feel that you've got a couple of things that you need to do before you can actually take that place of responsibility. So it's almost like taking your rightful seat at the table, if you like, or taking a job, or taking a place, your rightful place of leadership, taking the helm of the situation for some of you Aries people. I believe that in June 2019 you're ready to do that. I think that you are ready, but I think there's a couple of things that you need to do before this can take place. All right, so I get the impression that for some of you guys, it's all about sewing certain things up before you can move on to something new. What is the theme for the month? That showed up for someone else. Who did that show up for? Was it Virgo? I think you showed up for Virgo. That's interesting. This is the theme for the month is that you guys are just getting your bearings here. You're just getting your bearings, because the Page of Wands, usually on the Page of Wands energy, the usual right away, this guy is very confident. He's ready to go out there and make his mark. The Page of Wands is mischievous. He's inquisitive. He likes to explore new territories. He likes to go out and have fun. He's not afraid to have a look on what's the other side, what's on the other side. He's just not afraid. This guy is not afraid to explore life. He's a young traveller. He's a young student, is the Page of Wands energy. But on this card, it's right before he goes on his travels. He's like that, right, so what does it say on this map? Let me have a look at this map. What's the directions here? Okay, got it. Right, I'll get up now and I'll go. That's what the next stage on the Rider-Waite deck, he's got his bearings and he's ready to go. It's like, okay, I just need that starting point to look at where I'm going or what I'm doing or, what I'm aiming for. So I feel that the theme of the month is that you guys are getting your bearings in a situation with the Page of Wands energy. You're just about, and I actually feel that really if I turn this around, Aries, I feel the theme of the month is kind of preparation. I think that because the Page of Wands, even though he's a pretty spontaneous guy, everything takes preparation. Even if you travel the world, you have to prepare to do that. So you have to kind of know, well, I'm going to go to Brazil, and then from Brazil, I'm going to go down here, and then from here, I'm going to go here. So everything has to be prepared. You can't just, some people do throw caution to the wind, but everything really takes preparation. And this guy here, can you see what he's doing? He's looking at the tombstone, he's looking at the writing, he's getting his bearings. So I feel that the theme for the month is all about preparation. And some of you guys are actually preparing yourself for the next step in a journey with this Page of Wands energy showing here. And that's why you're probably showing as being someone who needs to tie up loose ends with the Justice energy. The current self in June for you Aries people means that you're tying up loose ends with this Justice energy before you take the next step in your journey, with the theme being the Page of Wands on this particular version for the month. Aries, the key goal for the month for you guys is to Seven of Swords energy. So this is about finding a strategy. Alright, with this Seven of Swords energy. But I also feel with the Seven of Swords, the goal for the month for you guys is about downplaying things and not... If you look here, can you see she's got one hand, and this is her right hand is behind her back with a sword, and her left hand is in front. It's showing to the moon. Okay, so the moon highlights, it illuminates things. So, you know, she shows what she wants to show. And with the hand behind the back, she's not showing, all right? So she's not being, you know, the Seven of Swords is sometimes deceptive energy, but I don't think it is in this area here. I feel with the Seven of Swords energy being your goal, it is not only to devise a strategy for the month with the Seven of Swords, Aries, but it's also to keep this strategy to oneself, because with this card, it reminds me of don't let your right hand don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Alright, so this is all about being clever and outwitting and outsmarting the competition. And I do feel that you guys have a goal for the month, and this is to outwit and outsmart others. But it's not in a nasty way. It's simply about, I feel for you guys, Aries, it's getting ahead. And in order to get ahead, you need to be smart about how you're getting ahead. If you start spreading to others what you're doing, you might have copycats. Or you might have people who are trying to kind of, you know, emulate or copy your same strategy and your same moves. And if other people copy what you do, Aries, it means it's more difficult for you to actually get a head start. So the goal is really, if you want to break it down, the goal for the month for you guys is to get a head start before other people latch on to what you're doing with the Seven of Swords energy. What is it that needs to be, but also the goal for the month is to, in order to do this in a way, Aries, it's all about putting a key strategy into place. How are you going to achieve this with the Seven of Swords? Your obstacles that need to be overcome for the month is the Seven of Coins energy. All right, so the Seven of Coins energy is all about waiting. This person has planted the seed. They've got to nurture the tree. They've got. You can see this girl. She's pouring water into the tree, into the, into the actual, trunk of the tree. And she's waiting for everything to grow. So these are the seeds that are growing, but she's obviously still watering the trunk and the roots where the trunk comes from, because she wants the seeds to grow even bigger. And, the obstacle that you need to overcome is, and is this an obstacle? Because it really is about waiting. So you have to, you have to overcome how do we read the Seven of Coins as being an obstacle? Because it's all about patience. And the obstacle that you might find, it's about having patience with the Seven of Coins energy, if we just want to kind of take that down into one word. So what you might need to overcome is that things are going to take time. And you're going to need to have patience, because some of you guys might be a little bit impatient here. Alright, to make things happen quickly, or make things happen before they're ready to occur. So the obstacle that you might need to overcome is impatience. There is a need for you guys to have patience in this matter. And know with the Seven of Coins energy, everything takes time, and everything has to be nurtured and looked after and cultivated in order to see it come to fruition, and that you can't cut corners. Okay, because some of you guys might be wanting to cut corners here, because your key goal for the month is all about strategizing. Alright, but in that strategizing, you're not letting your left hand know what your right hand is doing. So you're not letting other people know what you're doing, because you want to get ahead quicker. And that's your goal for the month. But in that, the goal really for the month is all about kind of putting down a worthwhile strategy, something that is going to get you ahead, but without rushing it, because your obstacle to overcome for the month is boredom. Can you see how she's got her hands on her hips and she's standing there and she's like, okay. She might be bored here, But I get the impression that the obstacle for the month is overcoming boredom and just kind of going with the flow and being patient with this thing, with the 7 of coins. For some of you guys, it might also be just as a standalone card. Your obstacle for the month is money, or your obstacle for the month is seeing the results of all of your hard work, because that's the 7 of coins. So you might need to overcome the obstacle of seeing the results for all your hard work. Maybe you put some hard work into a situation and things are not coming through as quickly as you would like. What is it you're accomplishing for the month? Well, the 6 of Cups is the major accomplishment. So reconciliation, coming together with family for some of you guys with the 6 of Cups energy. All right, because 6 of Cups is all about the family and love and support. So some of you, a major accomplishment is something to do with the family. Reconciliations, get-togethers with others. 6 of Cups energy showing here. What is it you need to avoid for the month, Virgo? The avoidance for the month needs to be the Sun and the Magician. And that is so darn funny. I don't know what's going on with you. Did I say Leo? Aries. I hope he said Aries. I hope, Aries, I'm wondering what the hell's going on with you. Because your readings are turning up hella similar to Virgo. Firstly, Virgo had that card in the same position as it's come out for you. In the theme for the month position. And then Virgo had, but using another deck of cards, using these cards as advice, Virgo had the Sun, but the Sun reversed, or Sun dark side card, and Magician dark side card in their advice. And it showed up for them in a different position with a different set of cards, albeit kind of like in a reverse state. Very interesting. But you need to avoid the Sun and the Magician. It might be that some of you guys need to avoid a man and a boy, potentially. The Sun is a young boy, and the Magician can be, you know, an illusionist, a magician. 2 majors as well. Might be that you need to avoid a Leo and a Gemini, perhaps. Okay, showing up here. Because the Magician can often be represented by a Gemini individual and the Sun by a Leo. So you might need to might need to avoid a Leo and a Gemini individual. You might also need to avoid somebody who is egotistical, overly confident. The Magician is confident and the Sun can be overly so. So you might need to avoid somebody who is overly confident, or maybe you need to avoid being overly confident with those 2 cards. Because the Sun is all about being enthusiastic and thinking really positively, and the Magician energy is all about creating stuff, making things happen. So being overly zealous with the Sun energy and making things happen. So if it's not a couple of people or a man and a boy, then perhaps what you guys need to avoid is being overly confident in a matter here, I feel, with those 2 cards. Also, it might be, though, that you need to avoid exposing. The Sun is exposure and the Magician is all about your work or your ideas. So some of you guys might need to avoid exposing your ideas, showing your ideas to others, which would make sense in this area here with the 7 of Swords, where your key goal is to not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. So it might be that there is something here where you guys are doing something, but you are already saying to yourself, my goal for the month. And actually, you know, key goal for the month, is it for me to tell you what your key goal is, or do you feel the key goal? If it's for me to tell you what your key goal is, then it might be, Aries, that the key goal for the month is not to let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. In other words, don't let everybody know what your plans are. And that might be showing here. You need to avoid exposing your ideas here. Exposing what you have in your arsenal. I have to look at the Magician as being what he holds in his arsenal. What tools has he got? You know, what's he got on his table? What little tricks does he have up his sleeve, you know? So some of you guys, it might be that you need to actually, for some of you guys, you need to avoid being overly confident. But in the main, especially if we go with this 7 of Swords energy here, Aries, and the key goal for the month is to avoid letting your left hand know what your right hand is doing, you know? Avoid, you know, the key goal for the month is to kind of do something underneath the radar and get away with it kind of thing with the 7 of Swords. Don't let everybody know what your plans are. That's the key goal. It's about getting something, achieving something with the 7 of Swords in the most kind of, you know, quietest and under the radar way. Then it might be that you need to avoid exposing what tricks you've got up your sleeve. So I actually feel that those 2 cards kind of pan in together, actually, Aries, to be perfectly honest with you. But I do feel the obstacle you need to overcome more than anything is being patient with that Seven of Coins. I think that you need to avoid that. I do feel that you guys, you know, going forward, you're going to be achieving the Six of Cups energy, which is love, support and kindness from family. Family time, family get-togethers, that type of thing, reconciliations as well. Let's have a look at what do you need to embrace for the month. Well, you'll need to embrace the Five of Swords. I think that you, and when we look at the word embrace, it's acceptance. Some of you guys are going to need to accept, you're going to have to put yourself first. Five of Swords is putting oneself first. Some of you guys are going to have to accept that you're going to have to cast somebody out of your life. Alright, and this doesn't have to fit in with everything else on the reading. I can see a couple of places where this reading is really kind of coming together in certain areas. But the beauty of doing the reading this way, Aries, is that we can also kind of dissect it and move it around into other areas. So I feel what needs to be accepted for the month, what you need to embrace and accept for the month, is the Five of Swords. Putting yourself first, and in order to do that, you might need to kind of get rid of certain people and cast certain people out. If you are the outcast, Aries, you need to accept that not everybody's going to like you. Alright, with the Five of Swords energy. Some of you guys just need to accept that, you know, you don't fit in with certain people. That type of thing. What is the support that you'll be getting, or you could be getting in June? This could be somebody from afar. Two of Wands is usually somebody from a foreign country. It could be from a couple of people. Ace of Wands could be two fire sign individuals showing here. Or it could be the support that you're receiving is someone from afar with this Two of Wands energy. Also, you're receiving support possibly from a business partner with that Two of Wands energy showing here as well. What is the advice for the month, Aries? That's interesting. You've got the Moon. The advice is the Moon. The Moon, because the advice and encouragement area has to be positive, so you have to look at every single one of these, even if it's a card. And to be honest with you, this isn't the dark side, this is the light side. So you need to illuminate. The advice is to illuminate, to show. Okay? And the Hermit in this card completely isolates himself from everyone. Okay, the advice is to look into the areas, because the moon is showing its light. Can you see how by the light of the moon you can see? And then you've got the Hermit. It's almost like the moon is showing down on the Hermit energy. The advice and encouragement for the month is the Moon. Okay. And I don't think this is seeking guidance from this Hermit, because this Hermit has isolated himself from everyone and everything. The Hermit for me, this is about inner reflection. If you look at the moon is reflected into the water. So there's a great deal of reflection in this card. And moon means the inside. Do you see what I mean? So when you get the moon card, this is all about what's going on inside yourself, emotionally, psychically. And the Hermit is also about internalization. Okay. This is about hiding. Okay. I get the impression here that this moon energy, because both cards represent, and you can see this Hermit, he's not shining a light out to anything. He's just looking into it. So this is all about seeking insight. Both cards for me are all about insight. Look at ourselves. Have the strength to look at oneself. What do you see? You know, what do you see? What are you seeing when you go to the place where you need some guidance? But this is all about inner reflection. It's time to reflect on what you're doing for some of you guys. Okay? I think the advice for the month is reflect on what you're doing. What does it mean to you? What is it going to gain you? Because I get the impression when I look at some of this reading, Aries, that some of you guys, you're doing something, you're ready to do it, but there are certain people that you feel that you need to keep out of it. Alright, we'll go back to the start of the reading. You guys are showing us justice. You're ready to take up the mantle. You're ready to take responsibility within your life. But I feel that in June there are certain things that you need to take care of before this can happen. The theme of the month is preparation. You guys are preparing yourself for a new journey. The Page of Wands. That's the theme of the month. In terms of your goals for the month, the goal is don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Alright, so this is all about working out a careful strategy. because you're preparing for a new development, a new journey in life, Aries, you need to do this in a space where it's private, where you don't have the judgmental words, or you don't have the interference from others, okay? And that's what your Seven of Swords is. Your key goal is to achieve whatever this new journey is in the most quietest and the most secretive and the most not underhanded, but underplayed ways, all right? So whatever it is that you're looking to achieve for some of you guys, it has to be done in secret, okay? Because I think that the more people who know what's going on, Aries, the more likely it is to distract you from the course that you're on. Your obstacle to be overcome is the Seven of Coins. This might take time, the Seven of Coins. It may just take time. You're going to need to nurture this thing. This has to be in development. Remember, the Pentacles, they're farmers. It's all about cultivation. So even though your key goal is to achieve what you're doing, this new path that you're on, the theme of the month is the Page of Wands. You're preparing for a new journey. That's the theme. To take a new, a new road, a new destination in life. That's what you're preparing for, Aries. Even though that's your theme for the month, you need to be able to do this in secrecy. You need to be very under the radar about it. Don't tell everybody what you're doing, because it's going to distract you. But the obstacle is that you need to be tenacious and dedicated and committed to this thing, because it's going to take time with that Seven of Coins energy. The beauty of the month, though, and what you're accomplishing is close relationships with others. And I just feel that this is something apart from whatever it is that you're doing. The Six of Cups, sorry. There could be reconciliations coming up for some of you guys. However, you need to avoid exposing the Sun energy. I actually just think this is exposing what tricks you have up your sleeve with the Magician. Okay, so exposing your plans, exposing your ideas to others. And that's why the key goal for the month is to achieve what you're achieving, strategize, but also do it in secrecy. You don't need to tell everybody what you're doing. It's going to take you off your path. It's going to distract you. I think the more people who know what you're trying to achieve on this new path, this new journey, Aries, the more likely you're going to have people either trying to interfere, or people at best that will be kind of switching you and saying, no, that's not a good idea. And the last thing that you want to do is to start doubting your own abilities or doubting this new path that you're on, which is why I think it's a path that you're on, Aries, that needs to be done in silence. I think this thing needs to be done silent. I think this thing needs to be done on your own. I don't think you should be having anybody on board, only those who you trust the most. What needs to be embraced and accepted is that you will need to kind of make some sacrifices here with the Five of Swords, because it's all about putting yourself first. So you're going to have to sacrifice certain people on this journey to success. However, you have support from somebody from afar. You may have support from a partnership, a team of people, or even a business partner or somebody who's very close to you. And the advice for the month is the Moon and the Hermit. I feel that this is a month where you need to reflect on what you're doing on your own. Because the Hermit is in isolation. He looks into the lamp on his own. He's not looking outwards, he's looking inwards. It's a month to do some inner reflection. The reflection card is the Moon, and the Hermit is on his own. Remember, he's the dark side of the Hermit, so he's isolating himself completely. So you need to do this inner reflection with the Moon energy showing here. If this is something creative, then you need to do this new creative venture on your own. Okay? I just feel that the more people who are involved in whatever this thing is, Aries, the more likely you're going to become distracted. So the best thing to do is to do whatever this thing is on one's own. That way you don't have distractions from other people who are probably going to start trying to doubt you. I get that, because this is the theme for the month, is you're preparing to do something new. And usually when you're preparing to do something new, often you're going to find people who are doubting Thomases, and they're going to say, don't do that. What about the bills? What about this? What about that? What about all you worked for? And you're going to go and do something you've never done before, that type of thing. And that's why you need to kind of do it in secrecy. That's your goal for the month. This is the card of the strategist, the private eye, the researcher, the Seven of Swords energy. The spy, Seven of Swords. All right, so the key goal is to achieve, to strategize, to do this thing out of sight. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. Falls in with this. What to avoid: exposing the sun energy. Your tricks and your tricks and your your tricks and hints and all the rest of it, what you've got up your sleeve. You don't want to expose that to everyone. It's going to literally, if you do this, Aries, I think it's going to distract you, and I think you're just going to have too many voices in your ear. And I think that you're on a path now, just as this hermit is on a path completely of seclusion. He's completely ignored and abandoned everything and everyone around him, because this is the time that he needs for inner reflection. He needs to do this on his own. If he invites every Tom, Dick and Harry and says, well, what do you think about this plan? What do you think about this that I'm doing? You'll have so much noise in your ear, it's just going to completely take you off the track. Really, I think that the ethos of this reading, Aries, is just to do what you plan to do. All right, it's not about what anybody else thinks, it's about what you think. And I think that this is the ethos of the reading for the month, that you must do what you believe in, okay? And that means that you're on a little bit of a journey on your own, I won't lie, because what has to be accepted and embraced is the Five of Swords. You're on this path on your own, and you're going to have to embrace that. And there are people that you're going to have to leave by the wayside, but you'll find that if you do this, you will find that you're going to get a better result, rather than saying, yeah, you can come along, you can come along, you can come along. It doesn't work like that. It's going to distract you. This is your journey, this is your goal, and you're going to have to follow that path. But it's not a lonely path. This is a path that's actually going to transform you, and I think it's going to transform a lot of you Aries people spiritually, on a very deep spiritual level. I think it's going to strengthen you in a way as bigger than you've ever been strengthened before. I think you're going to be really strong by the end of this journey. I think you're going to discover strengths that you never knew that you had. But you discovered the strengths that you never knew that you had. It wasn't because you couldn't get the support from others. It was because, and also the support is from a distance, which is good. That's what you need. So this could be online support with the Two of Wands as well. Do you see what I mean? The Two of Wands is people from afar. People who aren't necessarily in your face. So the good thing with this reading is that you have that support, but it's no one that's too much here in your ear, in your face. You don't have that person saying, no, you should do it like this and you should do it like this, because this isn't the path that you're on. This is a really personal path that you Aries are on in June. A really personal path. A path that cannot invite every Tom, Dick and Harry to it. It's your own personal party. It's your own personal journey. This is really, for me, it looks like it's a vocation, judging by the advice cards of the Moon and the Hermit energy. This is all about private inner reflection, and this is the advice for the month and encouragement that you need to reflect on what you do very much in private, okay? In order to reflect and in order to kind of see things clearly, I feel that you're going to have to go on a very personal journey with that Hermit energy that requires complete and utter space from others. You might be afraid by this reading, some of you guys, but this is a really personal journey that you're on. And I think that in June, it is really important for you guys to embrace that, because with responsibility comes great power. And some of you guys, being that justice energy, just before justice takes place, you're really preparing yourself for that. So you're preparing, really, in this card, it says that everything in this reading is leading up to a point where you're going to be taking that responsibility. But you're not taking it yet, until you've got everything else into order. All right, that's your reading, my darlings, for June 2019. If you'd like to check out your week ahead reading, you can do. It's just sitting next door. And thanks for your time, Aries. Take care. Bye-bye.